I think it's about time for an update on our renovation project. Hiya folks, and welcome back to our 1920s renovation project. And we are at a really exciting time in this renovation because after a good, 4 or 5 months of work, maybe pushing on for 6 months of work, we are kind of turning a little bit of a corner now, and we're getting to the point where we are ready to start putting floors back down and to start putting the whole house back together again. This has been quite a tricky renovation, probably one of the biggest ones that we've done to date. We've run into a lot of problems in terms of drainage that was damaged. We've had obviously all the water supply, all the plumbing's needed replaced, all the electrics is needed redone. It didn't have gas, it didn't have central heating, and there was various problems with damp under the floor, rotten floor joists, all sorts of things. So all of those problems are resolved now, and we're ready to start putting the house back together. So let me give you a quick guided tour and show you what's been going on. We'll start in what is at the moment the kitchen, but it will eventually become just a utility and passageway leading through to a new kitchen. So a lot of this is temporary, a lot of it is final. Obviously the central heating's all in. We've just gone for a Bosch Worcester 36 CDI boiler, 36 kilowatt boiler, plenty power there to give infinite hot water and nice strong showers. I have gone for the Bosch Easy Control thermostat setup, which this is really the only bit of electronics that we've got. The only reason we've gone for this really is because it looks quite nice, and it'll give a bit of kind of future functionality that we might want to make use of, but we're not really going to be using any of the smart functionality. We're really not a fan of smart controls and stuff, because when it goes wrong, you've potentially got a major problem, and really simplicity is where we're going with this whole project. We're going for simplicity and efficiency. The thermostat's not staying there, by the way, that's just temporary. There's going to be a wall there. The wall's going to come all the way out into the middle of the room, and it's going to continue along here, and the thermostat is going to go in that wall, which is kind of fairly central to the house. It won't be too close to the boiler, and I think that'll work out pretty well. Another exciting thing today is that for the first time since we purchased this property, we've got hot water. And again, this is one of these jobs, before putting all the floors down, before insulating the floors, I've done a pressure test on the whole system. We've done a pressure test on the central heating, and just checking that there's definitely no leaks anywhere under the floors, because once this insulation is all down and the new floors are all on top, it's not going to be easy to get under there. So we've got to really make sure that anything that's going under the floor is under the floor now, because it's not going to be easy to add that later. The one thing I haven't quite worked out yet, I've got my fibre cable here running down to the studio room, and I haven't quite decided whether we're going to bring it up in the utility room or whether we'll bring it up around the corner in this kind of passageway here, because we've also got all of the Cat 6 cabling as well. So here's the Cat 6 coming down. I've left plenty length on it so that we can run it wherever, but somewhere we need to put a little patch bay and a switch of some description. So I haven't quite decided where that's going yet, but I do need to make that decision fairly soon, because we need to get these floors all down. Pressure is on now because carpets are ordered, and there's still a lot to do, but there was a bit of a lead time on carpets and flooring and stuff like that. So we had to get them ordered, and we've got an install date for the carpets, but as you can see, we are not really in any fit state at the minute for fitting carpets. I've still got all of the skirtings and architraves to do. There's a lot of skirtings and architraves to refit. I still need to insulate under this floor, so this floor needs to come up. I'm going to get the kitchen floor all done first, and then we can move the dining room into the kitchen. Let me take you through to this is the dining room where we've got our fridge, and this is more of kind of a, what would you call it? Kind of a bit of a workshop room. We've got like my to-do list in here, all of our PPE, cleaning materials, tea and coffee, all that sort of stuff lives in here during a renovation. But this will become our temporary kitchen through in the kitchen area that I was just showing you, and then we can get this room cleared out, and then I can actually get under the floors in here to insulate under the floors, and then get these all put back down, ready for the carpets going in. Almost all of the replastering is done. Phase 2 of the plastering is done. The only thing that we weren't able to do, sadly, in phase 2 was around, let me take you upstairs and I'll show you from upstairs. So if you remember when we bought the property, there was a window straight ahead there, and we're obviously extending on that side, so there's no point in having a window there. So we had to block that window up and then create a new window over on the left here. Now the only problem was, at the point that we were getting all the first and second phases of plastering done, planning permission hadn't been approved for the extension, so there was no point in doing the window cutout. Now planning permission has been approved, but all the plastering is done. So I had to very, very carefully cut into our freshly plastered wall. It killed us doing that, but as you can see, there's going to be some replastering to do at the top where the lintel has gone in, and tidying up around the new window. We've got a bit of a problem in terms of lead times for windows at the minute, so yeah, we'll see what happens there. Watch this space. But we had to get the cutout done before new carpets go in, because you would not believe the dust from doing this cutout. Anyway, it's all done now, and the remaining work that needs to be done is relatively clean work, so yeah, we'll just have to cross that bridge for plastering around there and tidying up at the top there. But not the end of the world. Life would be a lot easier if there wasn't massive delays on literally everything in the building trade at the minute, but we'll see how things go. So continuing round upstairs, I don't think you've seen this room yet. So our bathroom, if you remember, there was a wall coming straight along here, more or less straight in front of you, and we've now moved that wall along by almost 2 foot to the left. And what that allows us to do is to put a nice decent sized shower in the corner over here. It gives us room to have a loo in this room and basin and all that sort of thing. So it just makes it a much more family friendly bathroom. We're not putting a bath in because we never use baths. We are a shower household in the rental property that we are living in at the moment. The bath literally has dust in the bottom of it. We never ever use a bath. We were originally thinking of putting like a shower over a bath or something like that, but we're not going to sacrifice having a nice shower that we actually want, that would get used literally every day, over a bath that would just never ever get used. So, you know, it wouldn't be the end of the world for someone who bought this property to put a bath in, but we're not planning on moving from here anytime soon, so we're not putting a bath in that simply won't get used. Today's job, I've been putting a towel rail in. We did have my plumber doing all of the central heating, but again, this room wasn't plastered. We didn't even have a wall here at the time that the plumber was here doing the central heating. So I've had to do this myself, but it's all fine, no leaks. And because the other side of this wall isn't built yet, it's meant that I can run the pipe work through the wall. So that's just the flow and return coming through here and then under the floor from here. And again, everything has been pressure tested and checked for leaks and all that sort of thing, and we are all good. We've just got one socket to put in this wall, and then we can put this wall together, and then we'll probably get the plasterer back for one last time to plaster this wall. There's still a little bit of plastering around this doorway here because we've got the steel in. I forgot to tell you about the steel. So yeah, we've got that awkward cranked steel that had to go in before we could do the bathroom, because as you can see, that runs across the bathroom ceiling. So that's all done, and obviously that bit of ceiling had to come out, and now this section of wall still needs to be plastered. There will be another cranked steel going on this corner, but we can't do that until we take this section of roof off. It's going to be a little bit tricky because this is where the hip runs down. So we're going to have to take this section of hip out, but what we don't want to do is damage the ceiling in our new bathroom on the other side of that wall. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for later down the line. And I can't remember if I mentioned, but building regs have asked for this wall to be soundproofed, so it'll all be filled with acoustic insulation, and it'll be acoustic plasterboard on this as well. we're now in a position that I can actually crack on with the bathroom because I've got my hot and cold feed coming above the floor there, and that means I can get the floor down, and then everything else, every other bit of plumbing will be above floor level. I'm trying to minimize how much goes under the floor. So the hot and cold come up in that corner over there. Obviously we've got central heating pipes there that we're going to have to be a little bit careful about, but as much as possible we'll run above floor level and we'll just be boxed in. As I say, the shower's going to be on a little plinth raised up in that corner anyway, and there needs to be a false wall in here for running the pipes up the back, just to a bog standard bar mixer shower. So that's all ready to rock. So I need to get these floors down as the next job. Quick sneaky peek out in the garden. You can see how much the garden's sprung into life. I'm going to do a separate video about the garden just to update you on plants and all that sort of thing. So again, don't forget to hit subscribe. I think I'm going to go down the cladding route for the studio room. We're still waiting on the window to go in, so we can't do anything on the finish until the window has gone in the studio room. That has taken forever, but as soon as the window's in, then I can kind of get a bit more work done on that. But there's so much to do in the house at the minute, I'm not particularly bothered. Lots of floors all need to go back down. This is a bit of a spaghetti junction under here, but it's not as bad as it looks, to be honest. I mean, this is original wiring. Some of the wiring was absolutely fine, but this is just two junction boxes for the lighting circuits, if I can kind of show you. So it looks worse than it is, but it's just for the downstairs lighting circuits, basically, all come up to these two junction boxes. So it's not bad, to be honest. Certainly not worth replacing. You know, if we're redoing all the electrics from scratch, and a lot of the electrics have been redone from scratch, a lot of the sockets and stuff like that, then I probably would have ripped all this out and done it a lot more tidily. But it gets to a point in a renovation where you have to draw a line under things and you have to start kind of putting the project back together. And if I made a list of every job that people said, oh, you should have done this and you should have done that, and why didn't you do this, and oh, while you had the floors up I would have run fibre to every room, and you know, if you do absolutely every little thing to try and turn an old house into effectively a new build, then you would be working on the project for 2+ years, and we need to get moved in. You know, we haven't got all day to get this project done. If we had infinite time, then yeah, there's definitely things that we would have done differently, but at the end of the day, the property is 1,000,000 times better than it was before. A couple of big jobs left to do out here. That is the bathroom up there, and you can see the vent stack coming down. There'll be an external air admittance valve on that, but that will be actually inside the extension once the extension's all finished. And that's just coming all the way, so the sink waste, shower waste and toilet waste come around there. Again, all of that will be boxed in inside the extension. Comes around here. I still need to put the drop pipe down here, and then there'll be a new drainage run. As you can see, I've marked it all out. New drainage run coming along here and out. I was thinking of putting an inspection chamber there, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think what I'll do instead is I'll put a rodding point here. Every single corner on this run has a rodding point on anyway, so that would give rodding access through to this little bend here. The bend won't be that tight, and then at the end of here there's an inspection chamber anyway, so I think we're fine for rodding access, really. Oh, and we've got our build over agreement is finally through, so that means that we can rip this old drain out as well. That'll need rodding access, so that'll go up kind of that way to an inspection chamber up there, and that'll also allow just a route for rainwater and water from the new kitchen, which is going to run out roughly to the line of that brown soil pipe that's running across there. So yeah, that's a big job, but that can be done after we've moved in. That's not particularly urgent at the minute. The main urgent thing is obviously getting this drain run put in. This pipe here just comes from what will be the utility, and that'll just boss in to this run that's coming down the wall here that'll have the rodding access. So basically this will go kind of, let's see, that'll go kind of here-ish, and that pipe will connect into it. I can't do it with one hand. I'm not really in the right place, but you get the general idea. So that'll go there, connect all the way up to that pipe that you saw earlier, and we've got the rodding access there, taking us to that little bend in the pipework. The reason that we've had to come out a little bit here, by the way, is because if you remember, the electric cable, the mains electric comes around the corner here, so we can't go any further to the left here, so we've had to come out a little bit just to avoid that electric cable that comes round and somewhere into the kitchen there. So we're getting there. It's been a huge amount of work, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. As I say, it's one of those stages of the project. It's kind of my favourite stage, but it's also one of the most frustrating stages as well, because we're on to all the easy jobs now. We're on to a lot of the kind of second fix stuff, a lot of the easier first fix stuff, so plumbing that goes above floor level basically. So most of the really awful, dirty jobs are out the road. And the frustrating thing is that you really want to take your time with kind of pipe runs and just running stuff as neatly as possible, but at the same time we are up against it time-wise, so I haven't got an infinite amount of time to do this, you know, 1000% perfectly. If you had acres and acres of time, there's definitely stuff that you would do differently, but as I say, it's still going to be top-notch. This is going to be a really nice, thermally efficient house. The central heating as it currently stands, and bearing in mind most of the loft insulation is ripped up at the minute, most of the floors are up, and if I turn that central heating on, the house will increase in temperature by like 5 degrees in 10 minutes. It's crazy how efficient this boiler is, so I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to talk about central heating on a totally separate video, because I know a lot of you are going to be asking, why didn't we do underfloor heating? Why didn't we go down the ground source route or air source route? And I will explain all of that on a separate video, because it's far too much to go into on this particular one. Anyway, for now, any questions or comments, post them below. Don't forget you can go onto the member zone and get extra stuff over on there, behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to be doing a full budget breakdown on the member zone as well. I'm going to tell you exactly what we've spent so far. By the way, we are only about halfway through this project. There's still a huge amount of kind of finishing off work to do in the house itself, and then we've got all the extension and building work to do. That'll come a lot later down the line, but we are getting there. Exciting times. I shall see you next time. Take care, folks. Tatty bye.